Part 105. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 1066. Even if the current Mellow Heavenly Court wants to destroy the current Tiangong group, it will have to pay a lot of price. This is why Nishang, as the front-line commander, has been fighting steadily. As the Angel Regent, he 11 originally wanted to leave Merlot Heavenly Court and go to the front line in person to rub Huaye's energy. However, they were desperately stopped by the Merlot guards and the guardian angels, because the angel civilization could no longer bear the death of a king. Because of this matter, he 11 complained to Binghua for a long time, saying that she was also a war god after all, and had been the chief scientific research officer for so many years. Her skills had not deteriorated, and it was easy to beat the coward Huaye. A few days later in the Chiwa star system, the transit time-space gate near the moon began to operate, and the blue energy glow penetrated into the depths of the universe, as if it had penetrated the void. The Alal's defense forces who stayed behind watched this spectacle with admiration. It is rare for the gate of time and space to operate at its maximum power in the world of justice. Although the ones here on the moon are only small and medium-sized, they can also be called giant ones. Created. After the gate of time and space continued to operate for half a day, the end of the moon's exit finally welcomed its first guest. Is this the known universe where the goddess lives? It doesn't look any different. Kaza, who was wearing full body armor, took off his helmet and looked around the desolate moon surface. Legion Commander, are you confused? We haven't left the universe where we are. How could there be any difference? Kaza's shoulder armor was tapped, and the deputy commander of the 1st Angel Legion passed Kaza and walked forward. Behind him were rows of 1st Angel Legion soldiers who were marching neatly and equipped with full body armor. That's true, but I heard that our goddess's enemies this time are the same male angels as us. I can't figure out why they want to resist the rule of the goddess. Kaza caught up with his deputy and walked towards the garrison area where his legion was arranged while talking to him. I heard from my colleagues in the Angel Legion on the second day that those male angels were loyal to a king named Huaye. He advocated using female angels as a tool to vent desires, and male angels should enjoy the supreme status. In short, that's it. The deputy commander of the 1st Angel Legion, Tan Xiaodao, said that he did not know the inside story. Oh, that guy named Huaye really dares to think that he is not afraid of being chopped off when he does that. Kaza gestured with his hand, and the deputy commander immediately understood what it meant, and his body trembled. That kind of scene is too exciting, but I would like to advise you, Commander, you must never make such a joke in front of those guys from the Angel Legion the next day, be careful they beat you up. Facing the deputy leader's advice, Kaza laughed and did not continue the topic. Kaza is not stupid. Female angels in the world of justice may not be able to compete with male angels unless they have never joined the military, but as long as they have service experience, neither judgment angels nor battle angels are easy to mess with. Because of the presence of the great goddess Ice Flower, female angels generally have more tactics to learn, but this is different for male angels. If they want to learn some high-end tactics, they have to modify some of them that apply to female angels. When two male and female battle angels who have served for 1,000 years compete in a competition, it is still unknown who will win and who will lose. However, according to the internal competition results compiled by the Sky Sword system, the total number of wins for female angels is higher than that of male angels. Not to mention the chatting commander and deputy commander of the 1st Angel Legion, the Xiangbing company stationed at the Moon Palace was also nearby observing the formation of the 1st Angel Legion coming out of the gate of time and space. Everyone in the Xiangbing company sighed that this was really a group of mighty troops, with neat formations and well-equipped equipment. Due to the special gene engine, Ge Xiaolun could tell that the full-body armor and weapons equipped by the 1st Angel Legion were not ordinary. Both the material itself and the energy intensity contained in it are no less than the dark alloy sword in his hand, which means that this is a legion that is generally equipped with god-killing weapons. But when the first angel legion completely walked out of the gate of time and space, the Xiangbing company was extremely shocked, because it was said to be a legion, but the number of angel warriors was nearly 500,000. The envoy legion that followed on the second day was equipped with armor that was very similar to the Merlot heavenly armor, but it had protective linings made of special alloys in places that the armor could not protect. Although they don't look as heroic as the Merlot heavenly court, their serious and metal-edged equipment makes them look more like an army that has fought hundreds of battles. 2 angel legions totaling nearly 700,000 entered the Chaiwa star system, which made China feel extremely relieved, but then it gave them a headache. Because the 2 angel legions of the Justice World arrived very suddenly, their logistical supplies needed help from China's aerospace army. As for letting those powerful angel warriors take charge of their own logistics, no commander with any brain would do that. In the Edge of Justice Order Star territory, Binghua received Kaza and Elan's deputy who came from the Justice World in his room. I originally didn't want you to get involved in the disputes in the known universe. In the end, this is just a private matter between me and the angel civilization, and has nothing to do with the world of justice. Binghua sighed and said, but Kaza below said completely indifferently. Goddess, you are too outrageous. Without you, there would be no justice world now. Although you have set many rules, Goddess, you are an exception. Whenever you need the power of a just world, I believe no one will refuse to fight for you, Goddess. Kazana's sincere words made Binghua swallow the unfinished words. Well, I do need your power to clip the wings of my enemies for me. Binghua stopped being polite and said directly. Goddess, just tell me who the enemy is. Even if he is a legendary god, I will kill him with the sword and dedicate the victory to the goddess. Kaza saluted solemnly and said seriously, which made the deputy commander unhappy the day after the regiment commander was not here. If the battle is finished by you, what is the point of them coming here? The second angel legion leader also took a step forward and saluted Binghua. Goddess, Huaya has led the Tiangong angels to make a comeback. We sisters must end our relationship with them. Please allow us to participate in the encirclement and suppression of the Tiangong angels. This is the wish of most sisters. As an angel born in Merlot heaven, the angel legion on the second day knew very well where the real threat was, so they directly used the wishes of the sisters to ask Bing for a fight. Binghua looked at each other and looked at each other. Kaza and the deputy leader of the second angel legion, who were having intense exchanges with their eyes, shook their heads slightly helplessly. Okay, don't argue anymore, the rest of the war is enough for you. Huaya is just one of the threats. There are Triangle, Titans, and other threats behind us, so you can rest assured that we will definitely have enough control in the next battle. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 1067. Binghua was well aware of the competition between the first and second legions. Apart from the two sides not liking each other, it was purely a matter of resource allocation. In the combat system of the Just World, military exploits contribute greatly to the overall improvement of the Legion. This is required for both resource supply and equipment upgrading. Unless the overall equipment of the Justice World is updated, daily equipment modifications require large legions to find their own solutions, and the hard currency in the Justice World is resources and military exploits. The first Angel Legion did not want to be suppressed by the individual combat power of the second Angel Legion. The second Angel Legion had always criticized the reputation of its own army. In order to surpass the first Angel Legion, he had to upgrade his equipment in order to become the strongest Angel Legion. Of course, they came to the known universe this time because, as the goddess's kin, they wanted to help the goddess solve her problems, but they did not fail to take this opportunity to overpower each other. As Legion commanders, Kaza and Alan didn't communicate much, but they were happy to see this kind of healthy competition between the two legions. Since the Angel Legion arrived in the known universe on the second day, Alan left the Edge star field of the Order of Justice and went to the Chiwa star system to reorganize his army. The same goes for Kaza. Binghua has given up the fight and will definitely take action against the Tiangong group soon. The most important thing now is to reorganize his army so as not to lose face due to accidents. Taking advantage of this short leisure time, Binghua took out the void biological samples collected in the Styx galaxy in his room. This is what you call a void creature. The cell structure pattern is very novel. Kesha was also watching while Binghua was conducting research. As a researcher with a wide range of interests, she was also quite curious about this sample. Binghua nodded slightly to confirm Kesha's words, then established an isolation barrier with a force field and began to manipulate his silver feathers to perform precise cutting to separate a small piece from the sample. Binghua then began to observe and test its energy response. First, it was dark energy, which is most commonly used by super soldiers, and then dark matter, and a series of energy types mastered by angels and the world of justice. Keisha watched from the beginning, and eventually joined in, assisting Binghua in testing as her assistant. During this period, Jingnan came to report an attack by a triangular creature, so Binghua simply ordered to follow Ran's instructions and attack them. There was no need to come here to specifically ask for instructions. Binghua stayed in his room for several days, but the area around the Angel Guard base was very lively. Even the angelic civilization only has a rough understanding of triangular creatures, let alone the world of justice. But fortunately, the space-time shield system of the justice world is very comprehensive and can effectively defend against the magnetic field attacks of the triangle, which allows the triangle to only fight the autumn wind on the periphery. After figuring out the behavior of the triangle, Ran led the high-level angels to cooperate with the gods' fleet of the justice world to complete a successful sneak attack and annihilated many triangle creatures. Seeing no benefit, the triangular creatures wandering around the space finally retreated. After a period of experiments and demonstrations, Binghua also gained some understanding of the characteristics of void creatures. These existences, which Carl named void creatures, have completely different cell structures from the main biological universe, or rather, they are two completely different types. The basis for the cellular evolution and enhancement of void creatures is based on abundant void energy, and void energy is extremely contagious and can convert many known energies into energy of the same wavelength band as itself. This also explains why void creatures are so obsessed with items containing huge amounts of energy, because when void creatures come to the known universe, their own void energy will be continuously consumed. The efficiency of conventional stellar radiation and physical light energy conversion alone is so low that it is even difficult to maintain their own existence. Only after devouring a large amount of energy can they become stronger, and even fill themselves with void energy particles, building a suitable your own living environment. For example, the strange cosmic fog that Binghua encountered for the first time in the Styx star territory was a byproduct of the void energy particle field constructed by void creatures. However, because the void creature was too weak at the time, the fog covered a small area and was easily dispersed by Binghua's force field. At this point, the research can actually be postponed, because what Binghua wants is the essence of void creatures and their weaknesses, rather than understanding the composition of their civilization. Therefore, after figuring out how to more efficiently kill these creatures that invaded from other universes, Binghua put aside the research topic in this area for the time being. Because she has more important things to do, which is to launch an offensive against the Tiangong group, thereby coordinating the battlefield of Angel Nebula, and completely driving Huaya out of the scope of the world of justice order. In the main hall of the Angel Guard base, although it is a bit narrow compared to the throne room in the God Throne world, it is still enough to hold a strategic meeting. Binghua is sitting at the top, and below are the high-end combat forces and legion commanders of the justice world, including Ran, Haikawi, Alan, Chi, Kaza, etc. In addition to the commanders of the generals who belong to the world of justice, At the other end of the main hall are the representatives of the Merlot Heavenly Court who participated in the meeting in the form of projections. Sitting on the throne is the angel regent Sheng Hexi, as well as the frontline commander Nishang, and the war god of all angels. There are so many familiar faces that I really miss. After connecting the communication, Hexi looked around and sighed, because almost all the war gods from the angelic civilization were gathered here, which can be said to be a gathering of heroes. The only pity is that although the people present are all angels, they belong to two different super civilizations. The good thing is that angels and the world of justice are not enemies. Everyone is here, let's get started. Binghua announced the start of the strategy meeting. Huaye's Tiangong Palace has been destroyed, but it is a pity that his flagship New Tiangong was not destroyed last time. Otherwise, we would only have to accept prisoners now. Binghua's light-hearted joke made the originally serious atmosphere a little more relaxed, and the angel generals on the side of Justice World couldn't help but raise the corners of their mouths slightly. Okay, let's get down to business. Huaye's main force is mainly concentrated on the edge of the Angel Nebula and the Tyran Galaxy. Angel Nebula is being restrained by the Angel Army led by Ni Chang, so they should not be able to move for the time being. The only thing they can mobilize for defense and use as mobile force now is only the part that is attacking the Kalans, and then there is the unusually large number of servants in Tiangong. Do you have any good ways to deal with them? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 1068. Goddess, of course I'll hit you head on. I don't believe that Huaye can beat the 500,000 angel warriors of the First Angel Legion. Kaza's shameless words attracted the attention of all the angels in the Merlot heaven. Seeing this, Kaza said strangely. What? Is there something wrong with what I said? Kaza has just arrived in the known universe and doesn't know much about Huaye's strength. Don't worry about it. Elan spoke up to defend Kaza, which made the angels look away strangely. Hearing this, Kaza also understood that he had made a mistake, and he stepped back slightly in embarrassment to prevent himself from being so conspicuous. He did not know Huaye very well, he only knew that he was the goddess's enemy. Don't worry about the Heavenly Palace army outside the Angel Nebula, the Heavenly Sword King. I'm sure to drag them there and defeat them. Nishang's confident words sounded at this time, which was like the beginning of a conversation. After recent changes, the affiliated civilization of Angel Nebula can now compete with the servant army under Huaye. However, Huaye's affiliated civilizations, the Tianding Stars and the Titan Protoss, are a bit difficult to deal with. This is a bit too much for them. Hexi also spoke after Nishang. Merlot Heavenly Court has been on the defensive. In addition, it is also actively improving the strength of its affiliated civilization, which is now very effective. Huaye's servant army has gradually lost its advantage within the scope of the righteous order, which has greatly eased the pressure on Merlot Heavenly Court. If Binghua can contain or even defeat the part of Tiangong's army deployed in the Tyran Galaxy, Melo Tianting, who has no worries, will make up its mind to launch an attack on Angel Nebula's Tiangong army. Hexi had already mentioned this to Binghua, and this strategic meeting was held for this reason. Merlot Heavenly Court and Justice World wanted to divide the war zones and determine their respective targets. You don't need to worry too much about this. If I lead the two angel legions of the Justice World to appear in the Tyran Galaxy, I believe that under pressure, Huaye will definitely shrink all his troops to resist my attack. I am still confident in this point. Binghua's tone was very determined. In fact, the angels present had already predicted the outcome of this war. It was just a matter of how to win. The elites of the two super civilizations serve Huaye together. If they still lose, the angels present will no longer lead troops in battles, and simply find a place to spend the rest of their lives. The current strength of the Merlot Heavenly Court and the World of Justice. The Angel Legion on paper alone exceeds 2 million, and they are almost reaching the heyday of the Merlot Heavenly Court. What's more, today's Angel Legion is no longer what it used to be. In Merlot Heaven, almost all the members are second-generation battle angels and third-generation angel captains at the grassroots level. The World of Justice is also similar, except that the first Angel Legion focuses on scale, and the number of the third generation of angels under the same number of legions cannot be compared with that of Merlot Heavenly Court, but the second Angel Legion is different. As a legion that pays more attention to strength, some of them are old men who fell from the Skyblade faction in the Demon Angel War, and the popularity rate of the third generation of angels is very high. If it weren't for the fear of being completely crushed by the first Angel Legion in terms of scale, the second Angel Legion could have developed in the direction of the Marrow Guards. However, in order to be able to adapt to the large-scale expeditions in the World of Justice and the galaxy-level wars that often break out, the Legion of the Second Day chose to dilute the number of 3 generations of angels in the same battle group and recruited many new generation female angels who had received complete combat training. Therefore, there is not much suspense about the victory of this war. After some consultations, Merlot Heavenly Court and Justice World formed an alliance and began to attack Hua. Of course, in the past, it was Binghua's own behavior, and she could help Merlot Heavenly Court for free, but now that the Justice World has become too involved, and it is about to fight a galaxy-level battle, Merlot Heavenly Court will of course have to pay some price. But this is nothing to Merlot Heaven. They lack everything except mid to high-end resources. They have collected too many of these over the past tens of thousands of years, and the warehouse is full and they cannot use them at all. After all, the total number of angels in Merlot Heaven is only about a few million, and most of them are ordinary angels with no fighting experience. If Merlot Heaven falls, Binghua has no doubt that they will become the toys of Hua's Heavenly Palace army. Their long-term stable and prosperous life makes these female angels completely ignorant of the cruelty of the universe and the meaning of the Heavenly Palace order. After the meeting, Binghua and Hexi chatted about personal matters for a while. Binghua sees that you are taking your time being the goddess of the World of Justice, but why am I so tired? Facing He 11's complaint, Binghua just responded with a chuckle. Seeing this, He 11 sighed and said, "There is endless information and endless chores to deal with all day long. I finally understand why Kesha has completely given up on scientific research since she became the King of Angels." Binghua also fully agreed with this. If she had not completely decentralized the administrative power of Justice World, I am afraid that she would be like Kesha, having to stay in the throne room all day long to handle endless official duties. However, this method cannot be followed by He 11, because the official affairs of Merlot Heavenly Court are not really related to the angels themselves. Most of them are intelligence from various civilizations within the Order of Justice. It is impossible to use an intelligent system to review the concept of justice that wants to maintain a just order. That would be too cold and ruthless, so as the King of Angels, he needs to rely on his own ability to handle these things. Kesha handled things perfectly during her reign. Almost no civilization felt that they had been neglected by angels. Civilizations that violated the laws of justice and order would be punished, while those who kept their own rules would be protected by angels. Today's just order is in name only due to Hua's ravages, and it seems that He 11 has no intention of restoring the just order. It doesn't matter to this point, if Hexi wants to rebuild the order of justice, Binghua will choose to help her. Since Hexi has not mentioned this matter so far, it seems that there is no plan in this regard. While Binghua and Hexi were chatting about some trivial matters, the Legion commanders and commanders under them had already begun to assemble their troops and prepare to make preliminary preparations according to their respective tasks assigned at the strategic meeting. Legion Commander, what did the goddess say at the meeting just now? Kaza walked in the passage leading to his Legion station, flanked by concerned and inquiring deputies. I have good news for you. This time the goddess asked us to be the vanguard in attacking Huaya and cooperate with the fleet of God to break through their frontal defense line. Kaza said with excitement. His first angel legion never moved on a large scale after the Chaos Star Territory Annihilation War. The soldiers in the legion complained privately to him, the legion commander, more than once, that they had no chance to make meritorious deeds, saying that he, the legionnaire, was incompetent and so on. There are even rumors that an angel proposed to the goddess to replace his incompetent legion leader. Kaza was deeply worried about this and wanted to find an opportunity to prove that he was qualified to serve as the commander of the army. Originally it didn't exist, but after typing it up, it was sent out. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 1069. The Talon Galaxy, adjacent to the Kamigawa Tiandao Galaxy, was the birthplace of the Talon civilization in the new Kamigawa Pan-Civilization Alliance. At the same time, this is also the beginning of the disintegration of the new Kamigawa Pan-Civilization Alliance. Due to the war between the Tyrans and the Kalans, the civilizations of the Kamigawa Alliance lost their scruples and attacked each other. After more than 10,000 years apart, the Tyrans and Kalans chose to make peace and form the new Kamigawa Alliance for a chance to compete in the complex and ever-changing future universe situation. But what the Tyrans and Kalans didn't expect was that the Tiangong group would be so powerful and easily break through their proud alliance. Under the threat of star destruction and annihilation, the Tyran people chose to surrender in humiliation, leaving only the Kalan people struggling to support themselves under the trampling of the Tiangong army. I didn't expect this group of Kalans to be so unafraid of death. I remember that we have annihilated dozens of fleets and hundreds of millions of troops from the other side. On the outskirts of a small base established by Tiangong on the front line of the Karen Star territory, the male angel patrolling was chatting with his companions in a bored manner. Yes, I have killed at least hundreds of Kalans. I really don't understand why they are so tenacious. It's better to take refuge with King Huaya as soon as possible, so that they don't have to die so many people. Brothers, we can also go to the Kalan people's city and have a good time for a while. As he spoke, a lustful smile appeared on the face of this heavenly angel. I'm really impressed by you. I've been thinking about women all day long. Faced with the contemptuous words of his companion, the angel warrior became more energetic and began to share the joy of being with a woman to his companion. Your life is too boring. Why are we risking death from the fringe star territory and running to the justice order? It's not for the female angel, but now it seems that it is difficult for us to have the opportunity to taste the taste of the female angel. As he said this, the male angel shook his head slightly with regret, while his companion on the side asked curiously. Why? Didn't King Huaya say that he would lead us to break through the Merlot Heavenly Palace and re-establish the order in the Heavenly Palace? By then we should have no shortage of female angels to serve us. I feel that mortal women are too fragile and will not survive in just a few strokes. It is obvious that this male angel is a pragmatist and is not interested in those fragile mortals who will be injured if they move a little too much. Haha. It seems that you have just joined King Huaya's staff not long ago and have never been on the front line with Angel Nebula. If you have ever fought against those female angels who are full of murderous looks and want to eat our flesh and blood, you will know how dangerous they are. Now even if a female angel from Merlot Heaven takes the initiative to throw herself into my arms, I would not dare to touch her unless she binds her hands and feet. As he spoke, a hint of fascination and heart palpitations appeared on the male angel's face. It was obvious that he was fantasizing about conquering the female angel, and at the same time, he was afraid of the cruel methods of Merlot's heavenly battle angels who would kill their male angels. Just when they were chatting and talking as usual, thinking that today's duty time would be uneventful as usual, the base sounded a piercing alarm. The next moment they were in sight. Several warships with a flat shape, similar to equilateral triangles, shuttled out of the void. The next moment, more than a dozen thick beams of light hit the base's defense barriers, erupting with dazzling flames. Stop standing there stupidly, come on, hurry up and gather at the captain's place to prepare to face the enemy. The male angel who had just been promoting the benefits of women to his companions now showed his qualities as a qualified Tiangong warrior. Facing the incoming Kalan fleet, this small base with only a few hundred male angels stationed had no fear. The automatic defense system fought back under the operation of the servant army. The battle angels of Tiangong and several small battleships and shuttles from the servant army formed small teams and rushed out of the base, engaging in dogfights with their space fighters around the incoming Kalan warships. The Kalans were losing their own air and space fighters every moment, but their efforts paid off. Tiangong's servant warships were blown up. Even the defensive barrier of the base was broken by the continuous bombing by the Kalans. The base was bombed to pieces, and the Tiangong servants stationed here suffered heavy losses. Seeing that the base established by Tiangong Angel was destroyed, the Kalans quickly gathered the space fighters responsible for dragging Tiangong Battle Angel and quickly jumped away from the battlefield. Seeing this, the Tiangong Battle Angel commander who was responsible for the defense of this base spat in displeasure. This was not the first time that the Kalans had carried out such a surprise attack. In terms of losses, except for the base and the servant army, the losses of the Tiangong Angels can be said to be minimal, because unless they are particularly unlucky and are continuously concentrated by the weapons of the Kalans, the Tiangong Battle Angels will be injured at most. The only major loss to Tiangong so far was a small-scale annihilation battle won by the Kalans, which resulted in the loss of thousands of Tiangong warriors. If they had not fallen into the trap of the Kalans and been blocked in the star field and unable to break out, even if the angels in the Tiangong lost the battle, they would have been able to evacuate most of the angels. However, this also reminded Tiangong that no matter how much they underestimated the Kalans were still a god-making civilization with a history of nearly 20,000 years. The Karen fleet that had just breached a small base of the Tiangong group shuttled out of the void in another star field. It was quite a distance from the front line between Tiangong and the Karen people, so it was relatively safe. General, we just lost hundreds of excellent pilots. After a few battles like this, we will no longer have qualified pilots to fly fighter planes to meet the enemy. Inside the flagship of Kalan's fleet, Officer Kalan, as the adjutant, was reporting casualties to his fleet captain. Upon hearing this huge number, the captain's expression did not change at all, because he was used to it. The Heavenly Palace Angels are different from any enemies the Kalans have faced before. They are powerful and deadly. If they don't fight and retreat quickly, it will be easy for the male angels to break into the ship. If there are no own super soldiers in the ship to block the attack, it is only a matter of time before the entire battleship falls. However, the act of attacking quickly and withdrawing quickly, and quickly achieving the tactical goal and evacuating the battlefield, gave the Kalan fleet no time to recover the surviving space fighter pilots on the battlefield. This is the reason why the damage numbers of space fighter pilots have skyrocketed, because they have been regarded as expendable by the top management of the Karen civilization, in order to destroy the small transit base established by Tiangong and delay Tiangong's advancement. The reason for this is that the top leaders of the Kalan people are lobbying the Liang and Angel civilizations, hoping that they can intervene in this war, even if they have to pay an extremely heavy price. This method is currently very effective. According to the news from above, the Angel civilization has decided to take action against Tiangong. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 1070. As the Kalan fleet arrived in the safe area, communication restrictions were lifted, and the fleet captain began to contact the headquarters to report on the fleet's itinerary and combat results in the past few days. In the past, the fleet captain would be relieved by the headquarters operator at the end of the report, but this time something unexpected happened. Captain Kalan, all your attack missions will be cancelled. Lead your fleet to this coordinate point. The operator at the headquarters sent a space-time coordinate in a concise manner, and before the communication was interrupted, he specifically asked him to arrive at this coordinate as soon as possible. In order to prevent the fleet from being discovered by Tiangong's detection equipment, Ikalan could only order the fleet to enter a silent state of communication again and jump towards the coordinate point given by the headquarters. After arriving at the coordinate point, Ikalan discovered that he had arrived at the intersection of the Kalan galaxy and the Tyran galaxy. Due to the special cosmic environment, it was very desolate, and even the stars were lifeless, as if they had entered their twilight years. But precisely because the star field is so desolate, there are no troops from the Tiangong army here, because there is no value in garrisoning here. After observing for a while and not finding any abnormalities, Ikalan contacted the headquarters again and reported the information that he had arrived at the coordinate area. The headquarters answer was also very concise, that is, stay put and troops from allies will arrive there later. Although Ikalan was a little puzzled by this, the headquarters hung up the communication before he could ask for the details. Seeing this, Ikalan could only silence the fleet again and enter stealth mode to cruise in this star field. A few hours later, the operator who was staring at the scanning system on the bridge had a look of concentration on his face, his eyes widened slightly, and he immediately shouted nervously. A large number of space jump signals were discovered, which are bands that have never been seen before. Everyone on the bridge knew what this meant, because it meant it was most likely the enemy. Order all ships to prepare for space jumps and leave here immediately upon my order. Ikalan immediately ordered the fleet to prepare for retreat. As the signal of the time and space jump became stronger and stronger, a huge ship of astonishing size suddenly shuttled out of the void. This made Ikalan think of the terrifying Tiangong flagship of the Tiangong army. Moreover, this is not the end. As the giant ship arrives, traces of large and small space-time jumps appear again around it. One ship after another breaks away from the warp and appears in this star field. In just tens of seconds, a connected superfleet appeared in this desolate and empty star field. Ikalan's flagship received the communication request at this time. Seeing this, Ikalan's originally nervous mood relaxed a little. At least this unknown fleet did not open fire on them as soon as it came up. Are you the Kalan's fleet? To be honest, it's quite shabby. But forget it, we are the first fleet group in the world of justice, and we have come to join you guys according to the order of the goddess. As the communication was connected, what appeared in Ikalan's sight was a middle-aged man with short blonde hair wearing a rather exquisite and gorgeous full-body armor. He has rather strong facial lines and a pair of blue eyes, coupled with a healthy complexion with almost no blemishes. If it were at a social party, he would definitely be the target of competition among the female guests at the scene. But soon Ikaran noticed the white wings folded behind the opponent, and he suddenly became nervous. Kazan naturally saw Ikalan's nervousness through the communication screen. After reading the information for a period of time, he had figured out the composition of the Tiangong group and knew what Ikalan was worried about. Don't be nervous, friends from the Kalan civilization. If we were your enemies, those small ships of yours would have turned into cosmic fireworks. Ikalan reacted after hearing this, but still carefully confirmed with words. Are you also male angels? Kazan nodded, turned around and took a few steps to sit on his seat, explaining in a relaxed tone. Yes, but we are not on the same side as Heavenly Palace. We are loyal to the goddess, and the goddess and Merlot Heavenly Palace are the closest allies. Our mission this time is to destroy the Order of Tiangong and eliminate King Huaya of Tiangong. But we have just arrived here and we don't know the details of the battle here, so we need the intelligence support of you Kalans. So celebrate, you will fight with us next, let us kick the butt of the Tiangong army together. Kazan's relaxed tone and jokes made Ikalan, who was overwhelmed by the bad situation, feel better. This should be the reinforcements that the headquarters was talking about. To be honest, it was far beyond his imagination. It could be said to be a surprise. From the words of the other party just now, Ikalan got several key pieces of information. The first is that the angel civilization is finally ready to exert its strength. Then there is the goddess who is said by the other party to be the closest ally to the angel civilization. Judging from the fact that she has male angels under her command, her power should be no different. The war situation in the Kalan galaxy is now critical, and the addition of any force is valuable, let alone such a large fleet. After hanging up the communication, Kazaa stood up and came to the deputy who was sitting in the command position, leaned against his seat and said, "The goddess asked us to launch an attack from behind the Tiangong army attacking the Kalans. It is obvious that the goddess wants to lead the second day's envoy army to attack Huaye's headquarters. Thinking about it carefully, it is really a bit unwilling. You said that if we catch that guy Huaye and dedicate it to the goddess, will we get a commendation from the goddess and let those arrogant women from the Second Legion look down upon us?" The deputy did not hesitate to pour cold water on the dream of his own regiment commander. "Are you dreaming? You should have read the information. Huaye can become the enemy of the goddess instead of being wiped out by the high-level angel army under his command. He obviously has some ability. We'd better not act on our own and ruin the goddess's plan, otherwise you and I won't be able to bear it when the time comes." Hearing this, Kazaa nodded with some regret. He was able to secure his position as the leader of the First Angel Legion because he was obedient enough and followed the goddess's lead. If he disobeys the order of the goddess and makes a mistake, the male angels in the legion who are eyeing his position will definitely work together to kick him out of the position of legion leader. In that case, he will not be as famous as he is now. Although with his strength, even if he retreats from this position, he will not be hidden in the snow, but being able to stay by the goddess's side and admiring the goddess's holy face from time to time is not eye-catching after all. He, Kazaa, would not easily give up this opportunity to be so close to the goddess. Maybe the goddess would blossom and change her gender that day, but Kazaa also knew that this was just nonsense. "Inform the gods' fleet that we have reunited with the Kalans and received the star map sent by them. The entire fleet is preparing to jump into the target star field. Let us give those who disrespect the goddess the iron fist of a righteous world." Kazaa's words echoed in the fleet's main communication channel, making the captains of each battleship cheer up, because soon they will usher in their first real battle in the known universe. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 1071. When Kazaa led the First Angel Legion to join the Kalans and prepare to launch an attack from the rear of the Tiangong army, Binghua and the Second Angel Legion led by Ilan arrived near the front line of the Kalan civilization. Here they were warmly welcomed by the Kalan people, and the main god of the Kalan civilization even came to see Binghua in person. "Thank you for your willingness to lend a helping hand to us Kalans and save us from the brink of destruction." The main god of Kalan civilization knelt on one knee with a very low posture, and Binghua had no intention of embarrassing him. "Get up, you don't have to be like this. The Justice World and Tiangong are enemies, and it is our duty to destroy them. However, in the next war, we also hope that the Karen civilization can cooperate closely with the world of justice, so that the threat of the Tiangong army can be eliminated as soon as possible." The Lord God of Kalan civilization understood the deep meaning in Binghua's words, but he had no objection. The biggest threat that the Tiangong army poses to the Kalans is the Tiangong's battle angels. Their numbers are simply too large and they cannot compete on the frontal battlefield. As for the servant army of Tiangong, to be honest, the Kalans have never taken those cannon fodder seriously. Only the Titans and Tianding stars make them feel a little difficult to deal with. But whether they are Titans or Tianding stars, their numbers are about the same as male angels. They are rare on the battlefield except for the front line. After all, they do not have the outstanding mobility of angels. Therefore, the main god of the Kalan civilization did not say anything about justice asking them to take the lead. In the final analysis, the longer this war drags on, the greater the losses for the Kalan people. Even if it means paying a heavy price, Kalan civilization must end all this in the shortest possible time so that it can silently lick its wounds. As the forces of the Justice World on the Kalan Galaxy side were in place, Nishang, who was in charge of the Angel Nebula defense line on the Mellow Heavenly Court side, also began to gather his scattered forces. The Heavenly Blade Fleet reappeared, which made the Heavenly Palace army confronting Merlot Heavenly Palace immediately nervous because their king was not here. If the Angel Regent Sheng Hexi arrives in person with her guards, they will not be able to stop each other unless they use their lives to fill it. But fortunately, Merlot Heavenly Court did not launch an attack immediately, but was waiting for something. After Huaya received the news, he immediately held a meeting with his generals and representatives of civilizations to discuss how to respond. In this regard, in addition to Huaya's direct descendants who still insisted on a decisive battle with Merlot Heavenly Court, many male angel generals who came to the known universe and took refuge in him persuaded Huaya to give up attacking Merlot Heavenly Court. After all, apart from the large number of people, the Celestial Palace is really no match for the Merlot Celestial Palace. It is better to give up the strong backbone of the female angel and annex other civilizations in the known universe with the general trend of sweeping justice and order. The Titan God King was also wavering on whether Huaya could defeat Merlot Heavenly Court. Recently, their Titan God clan had contributed a lot, but except for some insignificant resources, there was no sign of getting the Titan God realm they expected. Huaya also knew what the gods under his command were thinking, so he did not make empty promises and would use most of the mid to high-end resources squeezed from the Tyran people. In this way, the Titans and the Servant Army, including the Tiangong army under his command, were silenced. In the final analysis, Huaye's leadership charisma was extremely limited. The reason why he was able to pull up the behemoth of the Tiangong group was, first of all, his strength, secondly, to use interests to unite people's hearts, and thirdly, the advantage of the Tiangong order, which is an institutional advantage that conforms to the imagination of most male angels. But in the face of reality, it is difficult to rebuild the order of the Heavenly Palace, so Huaya needs to feed the beasts under his command to make them more deadly and obedient. Just when Huaya and the civilization representatives under his command had not discussed a complete response to the changes in Merlot Heaven, another piece of bad news came. An extremely large fleet suddenly appeared behind the Tiangong army fighting in the Kalan Galaxy, and there were also a large number of male angels mixed in. They wandered around and constantly swept away the logistics material transfer stations established by the Tiangong army, killing countless servants and thousands of Tiangong battle angels stationed everywhere. In the starfield at the junction of the Kalan and Tyran galaxies, a base established by the Tiangong to maintain the servant army and its own logistics was turned into debris scattered in the universe in a violent explosion. In the surrounding space, male angels from two different sides were fighting fiercely, but one side only had more than 200 angels, while the other side had nearly 1,000. Moreover, there is a huge difference in the level of armament between the two sides. After the cross-sword in the hands of the Tiangong battle angel turns on dark energy cutting, it can only break through the armor of the first angel legion of the just world. However, after the second type of Fan Shenjian in the hands of the angel warriors of the first legion of the justice world turns on dark energy cutting, the ultra-high temperature of tens of thousands of degrees can cause huge trauma to the battle angels in Tiangong. I really don't understand how your king dares to claim to be an army of angels with just a few metal pieces attached to his body. Are you the beggars from there? Kaza reached out and used his fingers covered with special alloy wire woven armor to grasp the cross-sword thrust by a Tiangong grassroots commander. While sparks of dazzling energy burst out, he also did not forget to mock Tiangong's poor equipment. In fact, Kaza was just talking about it. Thousands of years ago, the equipment of the First Angel Legion and the Battle Angel of Tiangong was not much different. It was just more beautiful and purely for decoration. But since the annihilation of Seminary and the possession of Seminary's superb material science technology, the technological level of the world of justice in the application of materials and energy has continued to rise. Therefore, the powerful angel warriors finally have lightweight armor that can protect their tough bodies. The principle is similar to that of charged armor. As long as the energy of the armor is not exhausted, the power of the attack can be greatly weakened. Therefore, when the cross swords with dark energy cutting in the hands of the Heavenly Palace warriors slashed at the armor of the First Angel Legion warriors, they would often only leave a deep gap, causing little damage to the body protected by the armor. Where did you come from? Why did you disobey King Huaya and attack us? The grassroots Tiangong commanders who controlled the space were filled with confusion and resentment. They wanted to kill the hateful male angel in front of them who kept belittling their Tiangong. Who stipulates that only male angels loyal to Huaya can exist in the universe? Can't there be righteous male angels who are loyal to the goddess? Do you think this is true? A contemptuous smile appeared on Kaza's face. He grasped the opponent's sword blade with his left hand and pulled hard, and the silver sword held high in his right hand suddenly slashed down. The commander of Tiangong hurriedly raised the cross sword horizontally. The next moment, in the eyes of its owner with wide eyes, the cross sword was easily cut off by the silver sword, and was deeply buried in his neck, without any delay, cutting off his shoulder blades. The angelic body of the demigod was chopped down by the silver sword in Kaza's hand, like a fragile mortal, and was almost split into two. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 1072. The First Angel Legion did not show mercy just because their opponent was the same male angel as themselves. After executing the last male angel who resisted on the battlefield, Kaza put away the silver sword he regarded as a treasure. It was only fitting to use the weapons given to him by the goddess to drink the blood of these angels who disrespected the goddess. Legion Commander, we have destroyed dozens of these small transit bases and killed nearly 10,000 Tiangong battle angels. Why hasn't Huaya done anything yet? A chapter leader leaned close to Kaza and said unhappily. It was very boring to fight such a small base every day. Because this kind of base can station less than 500 male angels at most, and the number of battle groups organized by the First Angel Legion is simply not enough. There are still war groups that have not even touched a single hand since they came to the known universe. This makes some war groups very dissatisfied, because only war can gain credit. Not to mention that the military achievements represented by the male angels in the Heavenly Palace are not low. As long as there are enough opportunities, it is a sure thing to become the third-generation angel after this war. Kaza was also a little troubled by this. The task given to him by the goddess was to attack from the rear to attract the attention of the Heavenly Palace. Of course, if you attack with all your strength, you can easily achieve your goal, but Kaza is not a fool. According to his personal testing during this period, the male angel warriors in Tiangong are of average strength. However, according to the information of the friendly army Merlot Heavenly Palace, the Heavenly Palace has more than 1 million legions, as well as countless servant armies. If they accidentally fall into a siege, even if they successfully break out of the siege, their First Angel Legion will not look good. Don't be anxious, I don't believe Tiangong can tolerate us constantly eating their base and battle angels. If this is the case, we should be happy. Isn't it bad to bully the few? Faced with the rhetorical question from his own legion commander, the chapter leader had nothing to say. War is not a beautiful thing. The First Angel Legion was not without casualties during this period, but it was insignificant compared to the results achieved. In fact, it's not that Tiangong didn't respond. In fact, several generals under Huaya have mobilized hundreds of thousands of Tiangong troops and some titans from the front line, as well as a large number of servants serving as cannon fodder to prepare for these groups to emerge from behind. The fleet was annihilated. However, because the other party has not found out the traces of Kaza's First Angel Legion and God's fleet, there is no big-scale action. After Tiangong shifted part of its attention to the rear and mobilized its troops to leave, Tiangong's strength on the front line was only half of its original strength, and the originally fierce attack naturally slowed down. The Kalans, who were keenly aware of this, immediately sent out their own super warrior army to launch a tentative counterattack. As expected, they were severely beaten back and suffered a lot of losses. However, the Tiangong side also abnormally did not take advantage of the victory to pursue it. Some of Huaye's sharp-thinking army commanders have noticed the abnormality of the situation. Whether it was the unknown fleet and male angels emerging from behind, or the Kalans who were bold enough to launch a counterattack, they all revealed a message, that is, there is someone behind me. In fact, this is a conspiracy. The troops under Binghua's command are superior to the Tiangong Legion directly under Huaye. The reason why she wants Tiangong to divide the troops is to win with one blow. If the war turns into a confrontational war of attrition like that of Angel Nebula, even if the righteous world wins in the end, it will have to pay a heavy price in the end. This is what Binghua doesn't want to see. She plans to use her superior force advantage to kill Huaye, the spiritual leader of Tiangong. The remaining defeated soldiers will not be afraid at all. Turning off the information sent by Lord Karen, Binghua turned to ask about the results of their lobbying to Liang. Originally, Liang has accepted our conditions, and Lord Liang is willing to lead troops to assist us in our counterattack against the Tiangong group. But recently there has been a small problem within Liang, and they are busy dealing with it, so Pan Zhen, the regent of Liang, expressed his apology to us not long ago and sent a batch of resource assistance. Lord Karen said with a regretful tone, if Liang also joined in, this war would end faster, even if the Karen people would have to pay a huge price afterwards. This is really strange. According to my understanding of that old guy Pan Zhen, he will not let go of such a good opportunity to enhance Liang's reputation. Binghua's casual words made Lord Callan feel ashamed. Pan Zhen was an ancient god who had lived for tens of thousands of years and was extremely powerful. But when thinking about Binghua, the heavenly sword king's resume, it seemed that Pan Zhen was just an ordinary civilized war god in front of her. After thinking for a while, Lord Karen revealed some secret information collected by the diplomatic mission he sent to Liang. Goddess, my diplomat stationed in Liang not long ago sent back a piece of information that cannot be confirmed to be true or false. I find it very unbelievable. Goddess, I wonder if you are willing to listen to it. Oh, there's also this matter, let's talk about it. Binghua became a little interested. Sometimes, the more unprovable the information is, the more likely it is the hidden truth. Liang's garrison in the Styx galaxy suffered heavy losses from an attack by an unknown entity. And according to some rumors, the Yongxiao heavenly court station there was also paralyzed and unable to return to Liang. Now Liang is recruiting Liang master craftsmen to repair it on Liang star. When I was on the phone with Pan Zhen, I tested the information verbally, but Pan Zhen didn't show anything unusual. After Lord Karen finished speaking, he remained silent. As for his subjective speculation, he didn't mention it at all. Hearing this, Binghua fell into thinking. She was the one who brought down the river Styx, and she didn't know what was there. Could it be that Liang found Karl's secret laboratory and started studying the void and screwed it up? Thinking of this, Binghua didn't take into account that Lord Karen was here and directly connected to He-11. Sister Hexie, there has been something unusual in the Styx galaxy recently. Can you use Merlot Heavenly Court's investigation network to investigate? Why do you suddenly care about the Styx galaxy? I haven't paid much attention to that place since it was controlled by the blazing sun. However, not all the investigating angels there have been removed. I'll check it for you. Just wait a moment. Hexie couldn't understand why Binghua cared about Styx, but she knew her sister well, and she knew that Binghua would not do anything meaningless. Okay, we found it. According to the information uploaded by the reconnaissance angel, Lai Yang has been very active there recently and seems to be searching for something. Oh, this really surprised me. Lai Yang's Yongzhia Ocean was attacked, and it seemed that the engine was severely damaged. Sun Lord God Emperor Reina also destroyed several Death Stars. It seemed that something had offended this hot-tempered girl. He 11 also became interested in the information about the Styx galaxy. While telling Binghua the valuable parts, he continued to read it. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 1073. Hearing He 11's words, Binghua was immediately sure that it was the void creatures who had done it, but he had only been away for such a short time, and the void creatures were powerful enough to cause damage to the Yongxiao Heavenly Court. To be honest, Binghua didn't know whether it was Lai Yang who was too careless or whether he underestimated the growth rate of void creatures. He hoped that in the end, void creatures wouldn't take advantage of Lai Yang's hand to gain momentum, otherwise it would be too bad. Now Binghua couldn't leave Huaya alone and lead his army to the Styx galaxy to find out. It seems that there was trouble on the Styx River. It's also my fault that I left in a hurry and didn't have time to clean up. Binghua sighed. It felt like one thing was happening again and again. How come there were only so many bad things in the known universe? I don't care what happens to that poor place in Styx. Anyway, it's already taken over by the Blazing Sunday. They'll have to bear the responsibility for whatever goes wrong. He 11 laughed a few times. She and Binghua had different personalities. In her thinking mode, she just had to live her own life well. Isn't it troublesome to be so lenient? Binghua thought the same thing. Even if the void creatures gained momentum, they could be destroyed with Lai Yang's ability. No matter how hard it was, suppression could always be done. Okay, Binghua, let's not discuss the Styx problem anymore. Nishang has already assembled his troops and is preparing to create a gap in the weak defense line of Tiangong. Then let the army break in through this gap, divide the defense line established by Tiangong, and then encircle and annihilate it together with the affiliated civilizations. However, Huaya and his main force will definitely not watch us complete all this, so Karen's side depends on you. The look on Hexi's face became solemn. The next war will depend on whether Merlot Heaven can stand up again, so it must not fail. As the regent of the angels, although he 11 felt that he was incompetent, he still had the hope for a strong angel civilization, and he did not lack the courage to overcome obstacles. Don't worry, Sister Hexi, Huaya can't escape this time. Seeing he 11 being so serious, Binghua no longer responded in a relaxed tone, but spoke in a decisive tone. I feel relieved when you say that. Sister, I wish you all the best. After disconnecting the communication, Binghua looked down at Lord Karen, who had been silently listening to the conversation of the two angel queens, and asked directly. Is your army ready? There is a tough battle to be fought next. If you win, the Tiangong group will fall apart from now on. If you lose, you Kalins will never have a chance to stand up again. Dare to bet? Lord Karen's expression changed for a while, and he finally made up his mind, facing Binghua's looking down at him, and said firmly. We Kalins have been prepared for a long time. Goddess, we will do everything we can to win this war and for the freedom of our Kalins. After the First Angel Legion and the God's fleet led by Kaza were caught off guard by the Tiangong army that suddenly appeared to encircle and suppress them, the First Angel Legion quickly adjusted its tactics. After a period of mutual collision, both sides had a tacit understanding and designated the intersection of Tyran and Kalin star fields as the battlefield for the decisive battle. Tiangong's encirclement and suppression troops were afraid that the First Angel Legion and the God's fleet would continue to make trouble in their sphere of influence, so they pursued them with all their might. The First Angel Legion and the fleet of God wanted to find a favorable star field to drag the Tiangong encirclement and suppression troops here, and see if they could get the other side to use licking tactics and send more troops. At the same time, the First Angel Legion has been fishing for the Tiangong army as if they were separated, giving them the illusion that a war between the two sides is possible at any time. In order for this tactic to proceed smoothly, Kazah's First Angel Legion also borrowed the computing power of Merlot's Heavenly Court Kesha's Sacred Knowledge Treasury to track and calculate the movements of the Heavenly Palace army. Otherwise, doing this kind of operation without any certainty is playing with fire. The commander-in-chief of Tiangong, who was chasing the First Angel Legion, was very annoyed by the provocation. He wanted to blockade and surround the opponent, but he did not have enough troops. The shortcomings of the servant army were fully demonstrated in this battle. It was okay to let them fight to the death in a tough battle, but this kind of work of building an encirclement net was really not suitable for them. Because the enemy can break through the blockade network they built at will, and in the end they can only be surrounded by loneliness. Therefore, Commander Tiangong directly contacted Huaya and applied for reinforcements from the Tiangong Legion. Without reinforcements, it would be impossible to encircle and suppress this group of enemies surging behind in a short time. In the end, Huaya could only squeeze out a few more troops from his direct Imperial Guards and Tiangong Legion. Huaya also understood the hidden dangers if he allowed the First Angel Legion to continue to destroy, so he planned to stabilize the rear first and then continue to attack the core star field of the Kalan civilization. But all of this was seen by Binghua through the intelligence network of Karen and Mellow Heaven. Such an excellent opportunity to attack came. Kazah, you are doing a good job, keep it up, and remember not to fight head-on with the Tiangong army. After Binghua and Kazah connected, they praised his behavior. Goddess, this is all the deputy commander's idea, I am just the executor. Kazah on the other side was very happy to be praised by Binghua and did not choose to take all the credit. In fact, Kazah's original plan was to fight back directly to create pressure on Tiangong's encirclement and suppression troops and force them to increase their troops. But Kazah's deputy persuaded him. If they exposed their full strength, they would probably recruit Huaya, and then all their efforts so far would be in vain. The goddess lost the opportunity to behead the Tiangong king. In the end, the Justice World and the Tiangong group had to fight head-on. Regardless of the outcome, the loss to the Justice World would never be small. Near the core star field of Karen, there are battleships with wild aesthetics in a row, mixed with several Titan ships and Tiangong flagships. In the middle area surrounded by all the battleships is the Xintian Palace, which is extremely large and shaped like a palace. This celestial battleship, named New Tiangong by Huaya, has a super-large hidden energy axis cannon on the bow, and the firing port is hidden in the mouth of Huaya's facial statue on the bow. Although the shape of the upper part of the New Tiangong is like a palace, and its material is very similar to the stones that can be seen everywhere, in fact it is a special high-density material, and ordinary energy weapons can only leave a black spot on it. Coupled with the powerful energy barrier of the New Tiangong itself, it is no exaggeration to say that it is a mobile interstellar fortress. As the ruler of the Tiangong group, Huaya has been restless in the past 2 days. He has a premonition that something big is going to happen next. After sifting through all the existences that could pose a threat to him in his mind, Huaya's mind showed a back and side face, long black hair, and cold eyes. Huaya suddenly became excited and stood up from the throne in shock. The female angel serving beside him quickly and carefully stepped aside. "King, what's wrong with you?" Facing the timid questioning from the female angel on the side, Huaya waved his hand to indicate that it was okay and sat back on his throne. Only she can make this king so uneasy. Could it be that the recent events here are all her fault? While Huaya was thinking about whether to send someone to the border of the Order of Justice to test whether Binghua was still there, an angel guard entered the main hall to report. "King, the Kalans have attacked us. Do you still need to ask me about this kind of thing? Just call me back." Huaya waved his hand impatiently, but the guard's next words made Huaya frown. "King, it's like this. This is not a tentative attack by the Kalans. Based on the detected strength and fleet of the Kalins, it seems that the other party wants to have a decisive battle with us. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 1075. Huaya expressed disdain for the decisive battle launched by the Kalin civilization. If the Kalins hadn't delayed Tiangong's attack regardless of casualties, they would have already invaded the Kalins' home planet. Previously, because the Kalins' army was too scattered, it was difficult for Tiangong to defeat them in one battle, so they advanced steadily and did not give the Kalins any chance. Could it be that the Kalins couldn't help it anymore and wanted to break the fish to death, but what Yihui saw was that the fish would die and the net would still be there in the end. Suddenly Huaya thought of a possibility, that is, the Kalins were just pawns on the surface, and there might be others behind them. But while Huaya was thinking about this, the Tiangong army had begun to move spontaneously. The largest fleet of servants hurriedly left to meet the Kalins under the orders of some Tiangong generals. The Heavenly Palace Angel was holding down the formation, planning to launch a surprise harvest after the servant army had almost exhausted the Karen people's offensive momentum. This is the tactic used by Tiangong to try everything, and it is extremely useful against a god-making civilization that is neither superior nor inferior, such as the Karen civilization. Of course, this trick is not easy to use against the Merlot Heavenly Palace, because the servant army cannot even slow down the Angel Legion. In the end, the Heavenly Palace can only face the sharpness of the female angel. The Kalins had long anticipated Tiangong's actions of sending out its servants, and they used weapons of mass destruction. The horrific explosions illuminated the space, and the warships of the Shima Empire that were close were either overturned or directly disintegrated. But that is to say, Tiangong was unprepared at the beginning. After being prepared, various interception weapons attacked one after another, destroying various weapons of mass destruction launched by the Karen civilization in advance. The Kalins, who were originally attacking with great momentum, were blocked and delayed by the servant army, and then disrupted by the Tiangong army. The attack momentum was immediately frustrated. If there is no unexpected situation, after a while, the main force of the Kalins will be passive under the successive attacks of the Tiangong army and the servant army, and will eventually be eaten away. Just as the Tiangong army was preparing to happily eat the staple food offered by the Kalins, in the space domain where the new Tiangong was located, the Justice World Ilal's expedition fleet and the Second Angel were already prepared. The Legion's Legion fleet immediately space jumped here. Startled by the sudden appearance of a large number of jump signals, the Tiangong guards, the Tiangong flagship, and some of the remaining elite servant troops quickly moved to block the jumping enemies. The new Tiangong also began to slowly retreat under the protection of surrounding battleships, preparing to meet the unknown enemy that jumped over. As the void trembled, blue energy lightning appeared, and the huge, thick triangular hull of the Annihilation ship shuttled out of the void. Accompanied by successive flashes of light, they were followed by large and small Destruction class, and the Legion flagship of the Second Angel Legion. Although it was known that the number of enemies coming for a sneak attack would not be small, when all the fleets and legions of the Justice World gathered together, it still put a lot of pressure on the Tiangong army guarding the new Tiangong. The goal of Justice World this time was to annihilate Huaya and the Tiangong where he was located, so he launched an attack as soon as he left the space jump. A large number of angel warriors were thrown out, as well as the air and space fighters of the Ilal's people, and the small attack boats followed their own attacks and rushed towards the nearest enemy. Protect the Tiangong. Defeat the enemy. A heavenly angel raised his sword and shouted, but the next moment a torrent of lightning rushed in and completely drowned him. Ran charged forward with the thunder sword in his hand, constantly swaying torrents of lightning, chopping the angels and servants of the heavenly palace, blocking the front into charcoal. Elan on the other side was not stingy with his power. Giant flame slashes flew out of the air, and the shields of the warships blocking the road continued to tremble. From time to time, the shield of a battleship was broken, and the entire hull was cut into two pieces by the flying giant flame slash. The other god-level angels and high-level angels belonging to the Second Legion formed a sharp arrow formation and attacked towards the Tiangong Legion. Beside them are beams of light from dark energy orbital cannons that light up the starry sky and energy shells from dark matter annihilation cannons. Of course, the Tiangong side would not let the Angel Legion get close to them like this on the second day, and carried out a tight fire blockade. The Second Angel Legion of the Justice World are all warriors with rich combat experience. Once their enemy, the Eternal Ascended Ones, had much stronger firepower blockade than Tiangong, but they still broke into the front of the ship. And compared to the fire blockade of the Heavenly Palace, the goddess following them at the moment made them more concerned. Binghua did not plan to advance as slowly as last time this time. With a clear goal in mind, she directly followed the first wave of charging angel warriors to the vicinity of the Tiangong fleet group. The reason why he didn't take action personally was to avoid scaring Huaya away. It could be said that Binghua had made a lot of preparations to keep him completely this time. As the defense line established by the servant army outside the Tiangong Legion was penetrated by the world of justice, the Angel Legion and the Tiangong Legion truly faced off the next day. The Second Angel Legion, which had been able to break through with overwhelming force in the face of any enemy in the past, was not like usual this time, but was stopped by the Heavenly Palace Angels. The angel warriors from both sides continued to collide in the starry sky like galloping meteors. From time to time, an injured angel would withdraw from this high-speed flying state. Although the Second Angel Legion was the attacker, they suffered some disadvantages in this collision. The wounded could not be protected by their companions in time, but the armor on their bodies allowed them to avoid many fatal attacks. With the cooperation of the captain-level angels at the grassroots level, the injured angel warriors will retreat to the nearest companions, and the uninjured warriors will take over. The Heavenly Palace angels are not so lucky. They do not have the high coordination and grassroots command system of the Angel Legion of the Just World. The injured male angel warrior will be quickly hit by other nearby warriors of the Second Angel Legion to kill the effective strength of the Tiangong angels and prevent these angels from participating in the battle again. In the chaotic and anxious battlefield, not many angels noticed that a female angel walked straight across the central battlefield. All the male angels in the Heavenly Palace who blocked her died before they could get close. But when Binghua came to the area where the Tiangong battle angels were gathering near the Tiangong, she was still noticed because of her conspicuous appearance. The Heavenly Palace angel is a bit stupid, but she is not blind. Binghua's conspicuous attire and presence indicate that she is not an ordinary female angel. Therefore, a Tiangong general who was promoted by Huaya decided to personally kill this female angel who had sneaked in with evil intentions. Seeing a handsome-faced male angel with blonde hair tied into a ponytail holding a halberd and leading a dozen or so powerful-looking high-level male angels standing between him and the new Tiangong, Binghua couldn't help but sigh slightly. Isn't it bad to be alive? Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 1076. That's quite loud. The front is the palace of King Tiangong. It's impossible to let you pass. As soon as he finished speaking, the Tiangong general flapped his wings behind his back and rushed straight towards Binghua. A blue energy glow glowed on the halberd in his hand, and he smashed it down mercilessly. Just when the halberd was about to land on Binghua's neck, a rather gorgeous heavy sword was pulled out from the void by Binghua, and came first to meet the halberd. A circle of violent energy aftermath spread, and the Tiangong general was carried back to the direction of his subordinates by the back shock from the halberd and the scattered energy aftermath. She is not an ordinary female angel warrior. Kill her together and never let her enter the king's palace. After the collision just now, the Tiangong general discovered that Binghua was not simple, and sincerely called his personal guards to join him. If you don't want to live, then die. The moment Binghua finished speaking, he left his place and came to the nearest high-level male angel. He raised the sword in his hand and slashed it down mercilessly, cutting the blocked weapon in half with his body. Before the other male angels around him could react, Binghua swung out a thin flaming slash with a sweeping sweep. The three high-ranking male angels were horrified when they saw this. They quickly raised the cross-sword blessed with dark energy and struck it down, but the power of the bursting flame slash was unexpectedly powerful. The splashing energy debris left fiery red hideous wounds on their bodies and armors, and the subsequent energy impact blew them away. Several high-level male angels on the other side were also greeted by Binghua. Several god-beaming chains shot out from the void, and the tapered blades at the front easily penetrated their bodies. Wormhole and space-time attack methods have always been known for their concealment and speed. Therefore, only angels with supercomputer support or high-level divine bodies can detect and predict them in advance, like ordinary high-level angels. In just the blink of an eye, almost all of his personal guards were wiped out, and the Tiangong generals finally realized that they had stepped on a thunderbolt. Only the king and some senior Tiangong generals could deal with such a terrifying female angel. General Tiangong turned around and ran away, but unfortunately Binghua did not give him that chance. Sensing the energy reaction approaching behind him, the Tiangong general turned around and waved his halberd, knocking several flaming swords away, but then more flaming swords with fiery red blades came out. After struggling for a few seconds, the Tiangong general was stabbed like a hedgehog by several swords of ice flames. He let go of the halberd in his hand. The super gene in his body quickly lost activity and turned into one of the many corpses on the battlefield. After dealing with this group of blockers, Binghua looked around. Not far away, the Tiangong Legion had discovered what had happened here, and a large group of male angels were approaching quickly. I lament that the battle angels in Tiangong responded quite quickly. Binghua didn't care about them. Thunder and lightning appeared around him, and in the next second it turned into a bolt of lightning and rushed towards the Tiangong not far away, leaving the approaching Tiangong Legion far behind. In the new Tiangong, Huaye was sitting on his throne, dozing off, with the Dark King's sword leaning on the side. The female angel who served her had already been dismissed by him, and he was the only one in the huge main hall. All the Tiangong generals under his command have gone out to meet the powerful offensive of the Justice World. Only his most trusted Tiangong guards and guards corps remain on board the Tiangong. News that is unfavorable to Tiangong is constantly appearing in the communication network. In the past, Huaye would definitely feel extremely angry when he saw this, but now he is surprisingly calm for some reason. King, a female angel broke through the Tiangong's shield and invaded. King, the intruder is very powerful. The teams we sent to expel her have all lost contact. King, the intruder is Heavenly Sword King Binghua. We can't stop her. Then the Tiangong's communication channel fell into dead silence, but the sound of fierce fighting outside continued to reach Zhang Huaye's ears in the main hall. There was a loud bang, and something knocked open the originally closed door of the main hall. A captain of the Tiangong guards fell into the hall and rolled around several times, with several flaming swords pierced on his body. Then there was the sound of metal boots stepping on the floor, and Binghua, holding the king's sword, stepped into the main hall and looked up at Huaye, who opened his eyes at this moment. You didn't run away, which was beyond my expectation. I thought it would be like last time, sitting here is a male angel I don't know. Binghua's tone was teasing, but he didn't stop taking a step closer to the throne where Huaye was. Although I am afraid of death, I am even more afraid of losing everything. Huaye stood up from the throne and grasped the Wangjian leaning on the side. His slightly trembling tone showed that his heart was not as peaceful as he seemed on the surface. Really, then why don't you be a good Tiangong king in the Edge Star region and insist on getting involved in the dispute between the Mellow Heavenly Court and the Styx Galaxy? Aren't you afraid of dying? Facing Binghua's cold inquiry, Huaye laughed, and this laughter even dispelled his fear. Of course I am afraid, but I also want to bring you angel queens, big and small, into the heavenly palace and climb to bliss with you. But now it seems that my king's ambition has failed. You are really disgusting, Huayet. Binghua's complexion became a little ugly. She was so disgusted that she decided not to talk nonsense with Huaya anymore and just cut him down. As the king's sword in Binghua's hand was raised, surging dark energy filled the hall with a chilling air. Huaya gently stroked the Wang sword in his hand, and unknown dark energy emerged on the sword. Come on. Let's end this today. Whether the future universe will be a heavenly palace or your so-called righteous rule depends on which of us can get out of here. Huaye's harsh words made Binghua change her opinion of him slightly, but this did not stop her from tearing Huaya into pieces. Huaya has raised the detection capability of the black hole engine to the limit, and at the same time connected it with the supercomputer of the Tiangong at his feet. It can be said that this is his home field. The reason why Huaya didn't escape like last time was because he really had no place to escape. The Heavenly Palace army on the other side of the Angel Nebula was surrounded by the Merlot Heavenly Palace, and here it was fiercely attacked by the World of Justice. If he really escapes, he will have to abandon his army of millions of angels. And unlike more than 20,000 years ago, no matter where he escapes this time, Merlot Heavenly Court will not give up its determination to kill him. Instead of hiding around like a mouse in the future, it is better to make a big bet on your home court. Even if the bet loses, Huaya will have to take the back. The Heavenly Sword King Binghua, who had been sabotaging his plans, was a suitable burial object for his Heavenly Palace King.